So in this video, I'm going to teach you how you can be able to write the the product of a chemical what equation. All right. Now, if you look at the board, what I have here is how to write the product of a chemical equation case one. Yes, before you can get into the major things, you must first of all understand this case one. Whatsoever you understand in this case one is what you are going to apply in case two, which is where you are going to encounter the major thing. All right, now look at this. Now, but before I give you this rule, before you will be able to understand how to form the chemical product of a particular chemical reaction, the first thing is that you must have the detailed knowledge of cations and what? Anions. These things are very, very important. Without the knowledge of this, there is nowhere you can be able to form the product of a chemical equation. All right. Looking at the board, these are the list of what? Cations and their charges, while these are the list of anions and their what? And their charges. Now, it's very important that you should be able to understand, know these cations and know their what? Charges. Also, the same thing with that of anions, know their what? Charges. Of course, anions are negatively charged, while cations are those ones that are positively what? Charged. Alright, that's not what I'm looking at, but I'm saying that before you can be able to understand how chemical equations are being formed, you must know your cations and you must know your what? Anion. Now, let's get over to the rules that I gave to you guys on the board. Now, look at this. How to write the product of a chemical equation. I call it case one. Alright, now look at the rule. The rule says add the cation first with the anion and join them what? Together, ignoring their what? Charges. Now, whenever you are forming a product of a particular chemical equation, the first thing that you must do is that you will write the cation first, that is the positive one. Then you will now combine it with negative one, which is the anion. Do not make the mistake of writing the anion first. No, that is wrong. So you write the cation first, then you now add it with the word that of what? Anion. All right. And what did I say? When you do that, you join them what? Together. Now, when you join them together, you ignore their charges. That is, you ignore whatsoever they are having at the top. That is the first rule. Now, the second rule says, check if their number are equal. Now, if their number are equal, what will you do? If they have equal number, you leave it like that. That is, when you have joined them together, you will check whether they have the same what? Number. If they have the same number up, then you will leave it like that. That is the product for you. Now, what happens if they have different number? This is where you consider rule number 4. If they have different number, you exchange their number without including the charges. All right, now let's get to practical so that you'll be able to understand this rule. For example, let me pick any of the cation that is here and then pick any of the what? Anion that is here. Let me pick potassium anion and potassium cation, for example. So let me write potassium K plus 1. Then I can join it with any of the anion. Let me choose Cl minus. Cl minus. Now look at this. Now let's follow the rule. Now this is your cation because we said cation first before the anion. Now according to the rule, the first thing you will do is that you join the alphabet together. Do you understand? When you are joining them together, ignore what they have here. So what will I do? I will just combine these two letters together. I will have KCl. Am I communicating? Now, when you join this thing as KCl, now you now go to rule number 2. Check if their number are equal. Now, what does that mean? Now, let's get over to these two guys. Now, this is your cations and this is your what? Anion. Do they have the same number? Yes. When checking the number, forget about the charges that they are bearing. Your major concern is on the number. Now, look at this. They have equal number. Now, what did rule number 3 says? Rule number 3 says if they have equal number, you leave it like that. Now, because these two guys have equal number 1 1 here, what will I do? I will leave this as my what? Product. All right. Let me take another example. Let's assume I have something like this. For example, K plus 2 and Cl minus 1, for example. Let me choose this one now. Now, let's still follow the same rule. Following the same rule, we join them together, right? Remember, why joining them together? You don't have anything to do with this anion with the minus here. This card, you just join the alphabet together. So I write CaCl, right? Now, I have joined them together. What's the next thing you will consider? You will check if their numbers are what? Equal. Now look at this. In this case, the numbers are not equal. This one is +2, while this one is minus, and this one is 2, while this one is 1, because I said that you don't consider the sign that they are bearing here. Your major concern is on the number. Now, since they are not equal, you cannot leave this like this. This will now take you to rule number 4, which says that if they have different number, what you will now do is that you exchange their what? Numbers without including the charges. What does that mean? Because they have different number, they will exchange. What does that mean? That CL will receive what? 2 from CA. Because if you come over here, you find that CA has 2. So CA will transfer its 2 to CL, while CL will transfer its 1 to what? Calcium. Do you understand? That's what I mean by exchanging. You just like maybe let's assume that you are with your friends and he's with 20 naira and you are with 10 naira. Kind of you guys exchanging the money. Do you understand? That is just it. So they will just exchange their numbers here. So what will now happen? What will happen to CL? CL will receive what? 2. Remember, I don't include the charges. No, just the number. So what does that mean? I will now write what? Now, the number that we are exchanging, make sure that you write it down. Please, don't write it up. Just come to the in front of that particular element and put the number down here. So CL is receiving 2 because CA has what? 2. Now, CA will receive what? 1 from what? CL, because that's what CL, that is chlorine, has. But there is no need of putting that 1 here. You will leave it like this, simply because if I say 1A and A are the same thing. Do you understand? So anytime you are exchanging 1, there is no need of putting the 1 over there. Do you understand? So that's how you now have this thing, CaCl2. Alright, let me take another example. Okay, I can decide to pick L aluminum +3 and let me use Br minus. Oh, I didn't include it in my list of anion. It's also among the anion. Now look at this. Now following the rule, right? What will you do? You join them together. Just join the alphabet together. Then I'm going to have ALBR, right? Now, what's the next thing you are going to consider? You will consider whether they have the same number. Now, look at this. This is 3 and this is 1. So, they don't have the same number. So, there's going to be an exchange. What does that mean? So, aluminum has 3. It will be given to BR. So, this BR will receive 3. Now, BR has 1. It will give it to AL. But there's no need of putting that 1 here. Even if you put that 1 here, it doesn't mean anything. Do you understand? But just to, make your equation to be nice, there's no need of you putting them. You just what? Leave it. Do you understand? That's how you now have this ALBR3. Alright. Let me take another example. Okay, now look at this one. Ca plus Ca 2 plus and NO3 minus 1. Yeah. And NO3 minus 1. Now, what are we going to do here? Now, look at this. Still follow the same rule. So, we join them together without ignoring these charges at the top. So, I will just write Ca NO3, right? Just combine the alphabet together. Now, you check whether they have the same number. Now, look at this. Because they did not have the same number, you will do the same thing. That means that NO3 will receive 2, while Ca will receive what? 1. But there's no need of putting that 1 here. Am I communicating? So what am I going to do? Now, if you look at this anion is a combination of 2 elements, which is nitrogen and what? Oxygen. So what are you going to do? Before you exchange, what you will do is that you will put a bracket here. Do you understand? You put a bracket before you can now exchange what? The numbers. Reason is simply because they have these are 2 different elements. Look at this, nitrogen and what? Oxygen. Why we are exchanging in this one, we did not put brackets here simply because these are just one element, bromine, chlorine. Do you understand? But look at this, nitrogen and what? Oxygen. So you put the bracket there, you can now what? Exchange. So what does that mean? That NO3 will receive what? 2. Because the calcium has what? 2. While Ca will receive what? 1. But there's no need of putting that 1 here. So I will quickly what? Do what? Put 2 over here. Do you understand? Now there's something I want to take note. Anytime you are exchanging, anytime you are having elements, an anion that has 2 elements, something like where am I going to write this? something, anytime you have anion of this nature that are OH minus, the CO3, which other one again? NO3 minus and SO4 minus. Look at these anions. This anion consists of what? Different what? Elements. They consist of different elements. So anytime that you are exchanging a number among them, always remember to put a what? A bracket before you do that. Do you understand? Okay, now let me quickly give one final example. This time around, I'm gonna pick Al plus 3, and the next one is going to be SO4 minus 2. All right, so following our rule, we follow the same rule, so you join them what? Together. So when you join them together, you are going to have Al SO4. Yeah. Now, what is the next thing we are going to do? Let's check whether they have the same number. Now, this one has plus 3 and this one has forget about the sign. This one has 3 and this one is 2. So you will not leave it together, but rather you will what? Exchange, right? Now remember that I have told you that anytime you are exchanging and there are any of these anion, please remember to first what? Put brackets. Let me write this in very well. So I will write my this. Then what will I do now? I will put my what? Bracket, right? Now what does that mean? This SO4 will receive 3 because it's a kind of exchange. So I will put what? 3 here. Now look at your SO4. SO4 has 2, right? It will give it to what? Aluminium. Then you come over here and write what? And write 2. Do you understand? But if it's 1, there is no of putting the 1. But if it's not 1, make sure that you put it over there. So this is how you form your compound. Do you understand? So this is actually the case 1. This is the case 1. Okay, let's do one final one. Let me say I have something like Ca plus 2 and SO4 minus 2. So following our rule, we join them together. So we are gonna have CaSO4, right? Now before we do anything, we check whether they have the same number. If you look at this one, in this case they have the same what? Number 2, 2. So we will now use our rule number 3. If they are equal number, you leave it like that. So being that they have the same number, I will leave this like this. All right. Now this is the case 1 on how you can be able to, these are the case 1, and with this you can be able to form the product of a chemical what? Reaction. Please remember, this is just case 1, and what I'm expecting you to do is to master your cations and anion. Try your best to know the charges of each of the cations and try your best to identify the charges of each of the what? Anion. Alright, now the case 2, I'm going to drop case 2 in the next video. The case 2 is where you will now see the major thing, that is the major chemical what? Reaction, because this one is just the case 1, a kind of exposing you to what happens in the major one. So we expect you to watch the case 2 video so that you will be able to understand perfectly well how chemical reactions are being formed. Thank you.